Good evening and thank you for joining us on this Thursday night's edition of Primetime News as we bring you the latest updates from the domestic, continental and international fronts. I'm Salima Shumwefeleni Masipa. Before we begin tonight's bulletin, we'd like to correct an error from last night's Primetime Business segment in which we mistakenly reported that Ochimbele Grape Production has invested $120 Namibian to date. The correct amount invested is actually 120 million Namibian dollars. We sincerely apologize for any confusion this may have caused. In tonight's lead, Finance and Public Enterprises Minister Ipumbu Shimi on Wednesday tabled the midterm budget. Shimi noted that although the Namibian economy continues on a recovery path, his portfolio ministry revised down the growth projections relative to the view in the main budget. Let's listen into a portion of the minister's presentation.
From the diamond sector for this year by more than 2.3 billion Namibia dollar. Subsequently, sustained weaknesses in the diamond sector remains the most significant risk to the fiscals in the short to the medium term. The revenue outlook over the remainder of the medium-term expenditure framework remains uncertain, especially taxes on international trade, which remain subject to trade and economic developments in the region, which have a bearing on revenue flows into the customs revenue pool. In this regard, the volatility of SACU revenue is yet another key risk to our fiscal position. Nevertheless, domestic revenue streams remain resilient and are estimated to gradually improve, aligned to the positive economic growth outlook as alluded to earlier. As a proportion of GDP, total revenue is projected to remain strong, averaging 30% of GDP. Honorable Speaker, consistent with the fiscal sustainability policy stance, aggregate expenditure over the next medium-term expenditure framework is anticipated to increase from a revised 101.2 billion in this current financial year to 106.1 billion by the end of the MTEF period, which is 2026-2027.
Minister of Information and Communication Technology, Emma Theophilus, announced Cabinet's approval of the allowable catch for hake during the 2024 to 2025 fishing season, commencing from the 1st of November 2024 until the 30th of September 2025. The allowable catch is 140,000 metric tons. The minister made this revelation during an information session at the Government Information Centre in the capital earlier today.
For the 2024-2025 fishing season, from the 1st of November 2024, which is tomorrow, until the 30th of September 2025. Cabinet approved a once-off total allowable catch for hake to be set at 140,000 metric tons for the 2024-2025 fishing season and directed the Ministry of Fisheries and Marine Resources to consider a gradual reduction of the total allowable catch over the years to reach the recommendation of the scientists.
President of the Pan-African Youth Union, Muamoni Diala, called for focused and solution-driven discussions, urging young leaders from across the continent to actively contribute to addressing Africa's pressing challenges. In his speech at the opening of the 13th Pan-African Youth Union Executive Committee meeting in Swakopmund on Tuesday, Diala underscored the urgency of addressing current global dynamics and their impact on the African continent. Isabel Bento filed this report.
And so, this may not look like a big meeting, but it's a meeting that's going to define, in many years to come, the reconfiguration of youth engagement on the continent. It's a meeting that will determine the level of inclusivity, the review of the Africa Youth Charter, and how our governments are going to interface with us as youth actors and as stakeholders within the development ecosystem.
The Pan-African Youth Union stands as a beacon of hope and unity for the African youth, driving forward the agenda of development, peace, and social transformation. This meeting comes at a very critical juncture when our continent faces both immense challenges and unprecedented opportunities. From unemployment and inequality to climate change and digital transformation. The African youth stand on the front lines of these issues, and indeed, they are affected by these issues on a daily basis.
Now, it's close to 4 years since Namibia's national airline Air Namibia was formally liquidated, resulting in significant job losses. To date, former employees of the national airline have not received their severance packages. Earlier today, Namibia Cabin Crew Union member and former senior cabin control officer Rainier Bogart urged the government to intervene in the ongoing court case regarding the payout of former employees' severance packages. He stated this during a peaceful demonstration held earlier today by the union concerning the matter, further emphasizing the negative impact that the long-standing court proceedings have had on the former employees. Let's listen in.
We want the liquidators to pay the rest of our money, or we want the government to intervene to pay the rest of the money. Just a thought that came to my mind just now. Why can't the government take from their budget, because they've got unlimited resources, to pay us our money, and then wait for the court case and then just pay it back to the liquidation account? Why can't they do that? Why do they like to see the workers to suffer? I also have to inform you that on our last day of termination, we went through two liquidation processes. The liquidation of Air Namibia, selling of assets and paying the creditors. Just also to inform you and the people out there, we are preferred creditor. That means we have to be paid first in full. In full, not dollars to a cent like you read from SME. We are preferred creditor.
Journalists visited offices of Bruni and McLaren liquidators and found them locked upon arrival. Nampa then contacted David Bruni on the matter, in which he replied that he was not present at the demonstration, therefore he cannot comment on the matter.
We are not from Air Namibia, guys. We're from the VDR.
Your top roundup is up next with the business segment thereafter. Welcome to the Primetime Biz segment, your leading source for all updates business and economics related. Mines and Energy Minister Tom Alwendo noted the success of Namibia's oil, gas and green hydrogen future will depend on skilled labor, technological advancement and robust infrastructure. Alwendo further added the government will therefore prioritize education and training initiatives in order to equip Namibians for roles in these sectors, aiming to secure employment opportunities that foster growth and leadership.
Minister of Mines and Energy Tom Alwendo, in a speech delivered on his behalf at the opening of the 16th Erongo Business and Tourism Exposition in Warfish Bay on Wednesday, stressed that jobs created should, to the greatest extent, be filled by Namibians. The minister further called for local businesses, particularly small and medium enterprises, to seize the opportunities provided by Namibia's energy transition.
Notably, we have, of course, noted that technological innovation is key, where not only are we adopting existing technologies, but also fostering homegrown innovations that make green hydrogen production more efficient, cost-effective, and locally driven. Oftentimes, when we discuss and converse around the green hydrogen opportunities, commentary would come to say, are we hypothesizing around only potential opportunities, but from the projects that we have seen, including the projects in this region, it is no more an issue of just hypothetical considerations, but actual realizations that are generating domestic flows and jobs.
Speaking at the same event, Irongo Governor Neville Itope underscored Namibia's dedication for harnessing its abundant natural resources while prioritizing environmental sustainability.
Namibia stands at the forefront of energy revolution with abundant opportunities in both traditional and renewable energy sectors. As we gather here this morning at the Expo, let us remember that our journey towards sustainable growth is not solely about economic metrics, but it is also about inclusion of our communities, preserving of our environment, and advancing the technology with respect to these values.
Reporting for Primetime News, Mesa Sangeve.
Our next insert is from producer Josephine Simeon and Eba Kandovadu, who are currently touring the various investments of the Namibia Investment Promotion and Development Board in the northern regions. The duo spoke to some community members employed at the Namibia Berries project who revealed significant improvement in their lives. The community members attributed this positive change to the opportunities created by the plantation. Beyond employment, the project has also spurred major developments in Divundu, enhancing local infrastructure and economic activity. This transformation has fostered a sense of hope and progress within the community. Let's listen in.
I'm working with Blueberry, and the company comes in our community, and we have a lot of opportunity which we get, like jobs, and others, they give us waters, lights, everything. We appreciate for that.
I'm very thankful for this project because it has improved our life since it had arrived here, because I'm seeing life has been improved, life has changed since it had came here. Things that we didn't afford at previous, now with this time we are affording it. At least we are able to buy something that we didn't able to buy at that previous time.
So I really thank Blueberry for coming in Divundu. It really gave us a good opportunity. We had jobs. So like some of us, we just seated at home, and then now it's like a good opportunity for us that we got here.
People here were not having light. Up to today, they have light. And others were fetching water from far, but up to today, water is nearby them. As we can see, up there, they have a dam whereby the Blueberry company used to supply water. They are fetching water for them. Most at previous time, they were fetching at the riverside. So I'm very thankful for that, because it's things that were not here.
Many thanks to Josephine and Eba for shedding insights into agribusiness projects taking shape in northern Namibia. This is where the top segment concludes for tonight. Stay tuned for the Business and Economics Roundup. Welcome to Sport Planet, the segment dedicated to all things sporting action. We kick off this segment with local sport. The Namibia Sports Commission earlier today announced the introduction of its first edition of the Wall of Fame at this year's Sports Awards. The annual Namibia Sports Awards is slated for the 22nd of November. More insights from this insert.
So we are going to do a postmortem after the first, edition.
Okay.
I believe, quite a number of people have contributed to sport for a number of years. But we said, let's start from somewhere.
Yeah.
This is a firstborn child. The firstborn child, obviously, you need just to start from somewhere. And we are going to look at how things, goes. Postmortem will also be able to decide what is the new mechanism we are going to put in place, whether we have to extend to 3, to 4, to 5. Yeah. So it is for life. Yeah. And we are going to go further to sensitize all our sporting people, federations, that this person carrying this card, it's a diplomatic to sport. By this time, we are also trying to sensitize our regional structures within the regions, because we send all communication that they can also be able to sensitize people outside there. Because it's not only limited to members of the federations, we need to know the community also, it's open to the community.
Okay.
It is a high prestige reward that is given. That's why I say a contributor.
Okay.
Some contributors are not member of the sport, but they contribute as member of the community. So yes, we know we need to do a lot of marketing. Yeah, I told also my team to say, please, there's a need for us to go out there. Yes, we are, unfortunately, we started a little bit late, but at the end of the day, we are doing what we can do within our powers, that at least this message reach across. Yes, we might reach 80% now, come next year. I know after the first edition, the second edition, it will now click in people's mind. They'll be able to know about the Wall of Fame.
Okay.
On to some cricket news. Keshav Maharaj's 5-wicket haul sealed South Africa's biggest ever test win, thrashing Bangladesh by an innings and 273 runs inside 3 days and giving the tourists a 2-0 series sweep today. Bangladesh were all out for 143 in Chattogram after being put straight back into bat by the Proteas, a single session after ending their first innings on 159. Left-arm spinner Maharaj took 5 wickets over 59 runs after fast bowler Kagiso Rabada posted 5 wickets over 37 runs from just 9 overs in the first innings. It was South Africa's biggest test win, surpassing their innings and 254-run victory over Bangladesh at home in 2017. South Africa had 3 batsmen hit maiden test centuries in their first innings, 575 for 6 Tony De Zori with 177 runs, Tristan Stubbs with 106 runs, and Wyan Mulder with 105 not out. The tourists won the first test by 7 wickets. Bangladesh have never won a test against South Africa in 16 attempts. Stay tuned for your sports roundup. This is where we conclude tonight's bulletin. Do make a date with me tomorrow as we wrap up the week. Before I make an exit, a kind reminder to subscribe to our platform. This ensures you are well informed of local, continental and global events shaping today's narrative. From myself, Salima Shumwefileni Masipa, and the entire production crew behind the scenes, it's good night.